Hello, friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. Now, before we go to music, before we dive into everything music, I want us to pause for a moment and think about this. What is worship? Have you ever stopped to think about what worship really means? Okay, and this is for everybody, but targeted towards worship leaders, songwriters, gospel artists, musicians, instrumentalists, church musicians. Because if we don't get this right, we are going to miss the heart of everything we're going to be doing, in this course. And I'm going to start by sharing my own story. This is my personal story. So I grew up in a musical family. By that I mean my younger brother loved music so much, had the ambition to study music. My elder sister loves to sing. My dad loves to praise God. He's a pastor. I'm a pastor's kid. My mom grew up in the choir and all. So we were all, music. And the way I see music then, or saw music rather then, my dad used to buy us video tapes. Then we had tapes, not, digital now. Tapes of Ron Kenoli, Don Moen, their worship recordings. And the high moment for me then was, the solo parts where, world-class musicians were being featured. Carla Albrecht, Chester Thompson on the drums, Tom Brooks, the world-class producer, Abraham Laboriel on the bass. You guys remember Justo Amari on the winds. And I loved to watch the solo part where there would be a solo piece for the drummer and different musicians. And for me, that was worship. If you could play well, if you could sing well, that's worship, that's praise. And I brought that love for music and that perspective into my teenage years, joining the music club in secondary school, and that. Now, everything shifted for me in 2001. Between 2001 and 2003, 2004, thereabout. My brother had attended a worship seminar organized by, Pastor Wale Adenuga. He brought David Baroni and Pastor Chris Delvan, and he brought home the tape. I didn't even attend. He brought home the tape. I remember we had tapes then where we used Biro to rewind the tape if you wanted to score a song. How many people will remember that? So I listened to that tape, and it was a revelation for me altogether, because I never saw worship that way. When the speakers began to speak, and Pastor Wale also, my perspective was shifted altogether about worship being something that had to do with an intimate relationship with God, and not about showmanship. And this brings me to my definition, because a lot of people have the definitions of what. I even believe you should have your own definition of worship, because worship is a personal thing. Worship is a love affair. Yeah. Worship is a love affair between God and the believer. Worship is an ongoing, living, breathing relationship between God and the believer. And this relationship should be intentionally cultivated. It should be nurtured. It should be cherished. Take for instance a marriage relationship. If the only places where the man and the woman shows each other love, hug each other, smile to each other, do the things couple want to do, is in public places. That relationship will not be authentic. It's not going to be real. It's going to be fake. It's going to feel forced. Okay. That's the way some worship leaders, understand worship. I mean, we see it as something that we can only do when in public. We should do when we're in public. I mean, if it's only in public places we tell God we love Him. If it's only in public places we say words to God. If it's only in public that we want to pray. I mean, just like Jesus said in Matthew chapter 6, that do not do your acts. He said when you pray, don't do it like you want to be seen by men. I mean, this is worship. It's an intimate thing. It's a private thing. It's something private that you should have with God, you know. So when I got that understanding, that also coincided with, to continue my story now, coincided with my first year in the university. I joined the particular fellowship, Student Christian Movement. Yeah. I remember I would just go into the woods, into uncompleted buildings. I would pray, I would worship, sometimes even cry, you know, because of the overwhelm of God's presence, you know, in those particular places. And it became very different for me. I discovered that I wanted to do more less of impressing other people and more of being with God privately. Began to read my Bible the more, began to meditate the more on God and His Word. And that's brought about a shift, because when I joined the choir as backup vocalist, and then as a drummer, and then as a worship leader, I took that with me, and I discovered that was more impactful, because I began to get things like notes after worship sessions of people writing that, wow, that was powerful, you blessed me, you know, I was greatly blessed. I mean, sometimes even in rehearsals, you know, people will write notes like, I came to rehearsal sick in my body, and then I'm living healed because of that worship session. And I was so grateful to God, because I mean, that was what it was all about. It's all about Jesus. It's not about us. It's not about us at all. It's not about putting up a show. It's not about performance. You know, in Psalms 51, the Message translation is, David was saying when he was repenting of his sins, that he said that, you know, going through the motions does not please you. But putting up a performance is not what you want. What you want is a broken heart. What you want, the sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart. God will not despise. So, this is what it's all about. Worship is when you really get into loving God. And this love is sacrificial in nature. It's not just about the good times. No matter what you face, even when problems, you know, come your way, like that song Pastor Wale sang, you know, Pastor Wale Adenuga wrote, today, and when it gets to the place, no matter what I face, when trouble comes my way. And a lot of people have changed that song to when success comes my way. In fact, when I get to places and I sing that song, I sing the word trouble. You know, people are singing the word success back to you, all in the name of positive confession. Yeah, it's good to confess positive, but you cannot argue with the fact that in a love relationship between a husband and a wife, there will be challenging periods. Am I right? There will be challenging times. But what is going to make them scale over those hurdles, those challenges, is the love that they have for each other. The same way with God, us and God. When you love God that way, when you've gotten intimate with God that way, you know, challenges will come, but you're not just into this for what you can get. You're not just into this for what God can give you. I mean, if God had to wait for us to give Him something before He could give us Jesus, I wonder where we would be today. You know, He gave His all. Our own response should also be, Lord, I give You my all. No matter what happens, I'm going to praise You. I'm going to love You. I'm going to worship You. This is true worship. This is true worship. John 4:24. It said, God is spirit, and those that worship him will worship in spirit and in truth. For the Father is seeking such who worship him. So, my charge to you today, how do you even cultivate this relationship? Yeah, you do it by spending time communicating with God. I mean, you will not, if you love somebody dearly from your heart, you want to spend time with them, know more about them. The same way with God. How to know more about him is to read about him in his word, the Bible. Okay, pray, worship. It's amazing how many worship leaders don't even have time to worship themselves. So you do those things. Pray, spend time with God daily. It's not something you did that dwell in the secret place, not they that visit the secret place, of the Most High shall abide. You are under that shadow. You have chosen to dwell. You carry it. It's something that becomes your everyday default mode, your lifestyle. Okay, when you begin to do this, when you sing, the songs will be an overflow of that relationship. The source will be your relationship, and the songs are just for you a vehicle, not the thing, not the main thing. Okay, and then your ministrations, your singing will be more impactful, it will be more authentic, it will be more powerful, it will have more depth. So, finally, I want you to do this. Spend more time with God. Communicate with him. Talk to him. Be sincere. It's not about putting up a show. It's not about pretending. Be sincere with God. I like David so much. He was a very sincere person. Read about him. Very, very sincere. It's not about what people think. It's not about impressing people. It's about my life with God. It's about intimacy with God. It's about progressing with God. It's about hearing from God. Okay. So if you do this, then your worship, the leading worship, will become more impactful. I pray that God will give you grace to be able to do this. In Jesus' mighty name. See you in the next video. Thank you so much.